Congrats. Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. All right, John. Finish on. Coach Carl.
Great job, guys.
Hey there, it's Coach Cole here, and welcome to episode 265 of the Today's Leader podcast. Today is the very first day of 2021, and if you're like me, your Facebook feed is absolutely flooded with people saying, well, it was a bit of a crap year, was 2020, didn't turn out like it was planned, it was unprecedented. You know, the reality is that we all want to really kick 2020 in the nuts. And I guess that is a bit of a universal sense because that's what everyone's talking about. But one of the commentary that I find fascinating from a human behavior observation is that so many people are saying it wasn't the year we had planned. And we keep hearing that, and you keep hearing that. You might be saying that. So the question that you've got to ask is actually, what did you have planned for 2020? And often when people are actually asking about that or get asked that question, they actually start to stutter and they stumble around the answer to that particular question. So what is it that you actually had planned in 2020 that didn't go as it was meant to? Now, of course, the whole year itself has been unprecedented. No one would have guessed coming into the first couple of days of 2020 that we were going to be facing a global pandemic. But ultimately, that's what it did. But we also know that New Year's resolutions, for example, very rarely work out for people. In fact, I think there's research out there that continues to tell us that over 97% of people who make New Year's resolutions actually don't achieve what it is that they set out to achieve. And that's a really frightening fact because we're talking about, at the moment, so many people are saying it didn't go as planned. So what did you have planned? Well, my New Year's resolution potentially was to do this, that, and the other, of which 97% of people fail anyway. So the interesting thing, and the reason why I talk about that is because I started last year with a group called Conquer 2020, and we finished the year with about a dozen people in the group. I think there was 13 in the group. And out of that 13, 10 of them actually achieved what it is that they set out to achieve, which is an amazing success story for those people. They set a goal that scared them and frightened them, and they actually didn't think was going to happen in good times, and yet, let alone, they came through at the end and achieved it in bad times. Now, the remainder, I think three or four of the people within the group, they pivoted, they changed direction, they still had success on their terms, but not necessarily what it was that they set out to achieve. And you can understand that. I mean, we have gone through this global pandemic. We have gone through times that we were, potentially things were going to be unavailable to us to achieve. So we had to pivot. I myself had designs on running in the Tokyo and the Chicago marathons in 2020. And ultimately, I still ran the two marathons. They were the virtual London Marathon and the virtual New York. So we had to change and we had to pivot and we had to change tack. But one of the key things now that I want to talk about is let's get it done in 2021 and 2021. So it really is a way that I really want you to be thinking about that. I want you to be thinking about it. And one of the really key things here is that we're actually very much aware now that 2021, like the first day is today. What was happening yesterday in 2020 is still happening today in 2021. There's lockdowns, there's isolations, there's people getting sick, there's health services that are being stretched to the limit in some places. So it's not like we turn this new leaf. The whole world, the whole situation, the circumstances, the environment that we've been in during 2020 is still fundamentally the same here in 2021 and unlikely to change. So in so many respects, 2021 could be a mirror image of 2020 in many ways. The last thing I want it to be is a mirror image for 2020 for you. So let's talk about now what 2021 looks like, or what it can look like for you. And let's look at some of the steps that you can take to help you get there, because really this is about having a really specific, clear focus and going out of our way to achieve, you know. So first up, I want you to ask yourself honestly, where's my pain? And so when I'm talking about where's my pain, I'm talking about what are my concerns, what are my fears, what are my worries? So many people at the moment put themselves on hold for 2020, and maybe that was you. You put yourself on hold for 2020 because of everything that was going on around you. Maybe fear stopped you from going out there and doing what it is that you really wanted to do. Maybe there's all of this that's going on within you at the moment. And I really want you to think about that. Where's my pain? Because ultimately, if it has been fear, for example, I want you to flip the switch on fear. I want you to use that fear as a little bit of motivation. If you're asking yourself, surely there's more to life, well, there is. There is always more to life. So let's get out there and let's try and find a place in which we can settle with some level of discomfort to try and find out what that is. You know, we are always going to have some concerns. Of course we are. We are always going to have some concerns. And there is always the external environment of which we have very little control. So these are the things that are still there. So what is my pain? What is my level of pain? And what is my motivator within that to get myself moving forward? The next question I want you to ask is, where's my aspiration? So what is my aspiration? So we know the environment, we know the circumstances, they're not going to change too much. Here in Australia, we're likely to have rolling border closures every time there's a bit of a flare-up of COVID. So we know this. We know social distancing. We know mask mandates. We everything is known. A lot more known, I should say, than what it was when we were coming into this thing. So we know the environment, we know the circumstances, we know they're not going to be changed. We know that 2020 was almost a year where we did have to stop and pause and be kind to ourselves. Now, some did, some didn't, but that's not a bad thing to actually have taken some time and be kind on ourselves. But that's why I want you to be asking that first question, where's the pain? Because in doing that, in what we believe is being kind to ourselves, we have that propensity to add some pain in other areas. So we've been kind to ourselves, but now is the time on what I want you to think about to be truly kind to yourself and start to follow through with some of your passion and your purpose. So where does your aspiration lie? What is that aspiration? So what are some of the significant events that you want to kick into in 2021? Are there significant birthdays within your close group of friends? Are there milestones that you want to be achieving? What will it look like? You know, coming into January 2022, what are you going to be talking about in January? What 2021 was all about? Because people aren't talking kindly about 2020. So what is it that you want to be talking about in 2021? In 2022, about what 2021 is all about. So what will it look like? Also, in relation to that, think about just a couple of other little questions to think about. What would you say if someone tried to talk you out of doing what it is that you're setting out to achieve in 2021? What would you say? How would you feel? How would you respond? You know, so thinking about that, trying to get that real alignment into your purpose. If someone can talk you out of it easily, it means that you're not really driven internally with that. So does that aspirational aspect for 2021 actually hit you right where your purpose is? So just another little bit of a question. So number 3, what do I need? So what are the resources that I need? Are there skills that I need? And who do I need? So are you in the right circles to be achieving what it is that you want to set out to achieve? So what do I need and who do I need and how do I find them and how do I get them? So they're all questions that you need to be thinking about from a reflective perspective to really make sure that you are getting out of 2021 what it is that you're putting into 2021. And then your final piece of the puzzle, I guess, in many ways, there's so many goal-setting framework and there's so much out there. You know, this is the one that I really want you to be thinking about, that's really clear and specific for me anyway. I'm certainly use this particular framework myself to make sure that I don't, like I've suffered from distraction just as everyone else has in the world. So it's now time for me to ask these questions and, you know, go through the steps to make sure that what comes out of 2021, I'm in a better position and the world is in a better position coming into 2022. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do from a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What is that? What does it look like? And then just get out there and get after it, I guess is the last little axiom from it. You know, a lot of people talk to you about a concept called the traffic light, and when we're talking about our own behaviours, it's a really good thing to think about. So, as we know, a traffic light is red, amber and green. So red stands for the things that I need to do to stop. So what are they? So what are my obstructions? What are my blocks? What are those self-limiting behaviours? What am I telling myself? What are my distractions? What are my beliefs? What are my thoughts? Because all of that is stuff that, if there's things that are stopping you, you need to stop those things that are stopping you. And a lot of those things that are stopping you are internally driven. But how do you plan to overcome that? Because it you know, the old saying, everything's easier said than done. So what is it that I've got to do to overcome those self-limiting beliefs? What do I do to get myself thinking on a more positive scale? And once again, it's all about how do I do that? What are my resources? Who can help? And these are questions along the way. But what are those things that I need to stop? So what are the excuses that I'm telling myself as to why I can't be as successful as what I am? Amber is about the stuff that you need to keep doing. So what are those positive behaviours and actions that you've already got? And let's get them listed and let's keep them part of your range of skills in your toolkit to get the best out of 2021. And the last thing is, what are some of those things that I need to start doing? So what are my new actions and what are my new behaviours? And with this, it's not just about planning it out. Of course, it's about getting it done. So really thinking about when is the best time for me to focus on achieving something new. So when is that best time to get that focused? One of my mentors is a guy called John Maxwell. He always challenges us as part of the John Maxwell team to set ourselves a word, one single word that is going to help you deliver more in the year ahead. And it's quite challenging to get into one word, but the word that I've chosen is actually two words, and it's specific focus. Really specific focus on what it is that I need to be doing. So removing some of those distractions, removing some of those half jobs that I've got out there, half projects, half collaborations, half networks, all of the half things that I've got in my life, I've got to reset. I've got to look at them and say, is there a potential for that to become a full thing? Or is that something now that I've just got to say that was for a past season or a past reason? So my word is specific focus, being really specific on how I drive me forward and how I drive the things that I want to do. So that is something else that I can give you as a little bit of advice to help you get going in the new year. What is that one word that is going to drive you and that's going to be that motivating core reason for you to keep going? I would really love for you to share that with me and just let me know. Keep people accountable. Come on into the Coach Curl Academy Facebook group and let everyone know what is that one word that you're going to have that's going to drive you internally for 2021, because as I said, we know what 2020 brings. We know what we're sitting in right now. We know the circumstances. We know the environment. Now is the time to say, well, you know, if you are unhappy, and there are so many people unhappy with how they've come out of 2020, people have stumbled to the finish line. They've struggled to get here. There's no finish line with this. You know, this is the thing. 31st of December was not a finish line. It is just a continuation of where we are. So what it was yesterday is what it is today. The only thing that's going to help us change and get that renewed focus for ourselves is what it is that you do today. What it is that you do now to get that renewed focus. So what I've talked about is just some of those little tips and tricks. We know what we're sitting in. We know the circumstances. We know the environment. We know there's going to be so much stuff that happens outside of our control. What is it that you need to be doing to make you or help you create the best success that you've got? And you deserve great success in 2021. So give yourself the best chance in 2021. Let's get it done in 2021. You know where you've been standing. You've been kind to yourself, but now it's time to be even kinder to yourself. And let's get you exactly where you need to be, whether it's in leadership, whether it's in business, whether it's in your own personal growth. I'm Coach Curl. I'm wishing you every success here in 2021. I shall see you on Monday when we kick off our Monday mentoring again. I'll see you then. Bye for now.